You're watching KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications.
And this is Saturday, March the 16th, true believers, and you have entered overtime, a festive St. Patrick's Day, early, or at least the whole weekend for you, to one and all, Irish or not. Now, put bluntly, we have soldiered through a lot of lean years on the local college basketball scene in my now nearly two-decade tenure here at KHQA, which makes it all the easier and more fun to appreciate the rise this season of once dormant teams like Western Illinois and Culver Stockton. On the list of improbable outcomes, if you would have told me I'd work in this job long enough to see the Wildcat men's program in particular reach national prominence like it did today, I would have questioned your sanity. But here we are with Wildcat Nation on the precipice of a national Final Four appearance in Kansas City. The only obstacle to that dream, a very big and a very talented Georgetown, Kentucky squad with pedigree of postseason success that far outpaced Culver's. What would transpire today at Municipal Auditorium? What we would have would be a first half for the ages for Austin Keaton and Culver Stockton as they were lights out on fire. Keaton leading the way, first possession. That's a good sign and a good omen when you hit a three. How about another three right there? And then how about the step back two from Austin Keaton from the corner this time, as it would be 12-8. Culver Stockton right out of the gate. They're not done. Marshawn Norris would rattle in a three right here from the top of the arc, extending the lead to 15-8. Georgetown calls the timeout. The crowd absolutely loving it, as was Houdini Norris. It would continue right here as Norris with the kickback right here to Alan Hedzimahovic, who knocks down the three. That's what he does, wide open, and then more of Norris. He's going to cut his way into the lane right here, weaving neatly and finishing neatly. 32-29 Culver Stockton at that point, and my goodness, Mr. Norris was just heating up. He had great handles right here, shake and bake, and I helped away from the defender, and then knocking down the three, and he just couldn't seem to miss in this first half. He's going to bank home the late three. The Wildcats led by 16 at the half, 52-37 to be precise. Mr. Norris, 18 points at the half. He also had 8 assists at that point. Second half, though, Georgetown opens on a 16-4 run, fighting back. Vic Moses for the two right here. He is proficient. Cats only up 6 at that point. Norris would answer with another of his great threes in front of the student section this time again. Then James Johnson trying to kill that roll for Georgetown. Hits the straightaway three. It's another 10-point lead for Culver Stockton. Georgetown just kept coming in this game, attacking on the interior edge. The jumper right here going to fall and fall nicely on the fadeaway. Hedzimahovic going to do his part to try to answer that back. Another three. The Cats lead, though, 6 with 6 minutes left at 78-72. Georgetown playing big down the stretch right here, responding with 2 more in the paint, down just 4 at this point. Under a minute left. Game tied at 82. Georgetown would hit a three right here and take its first lead. And all of a sudden, that would be the end of things. A three late in the ball game would not fall for Culver. They were down 4 at the time. Probably wouldn't have mattered. The Wildcats with a historic season, but it comes to an end today in the round of 8, 86-82. Great, great effort for Coach Schrader and company. Just does not pan out in a Final Four berth. But plenty to celebrate, and we will do that tomorrow in Canton. A Wildcat welcome of epic proportions starting tomorrow at 11:30. The team is going to catch the fire truck at the Pizza Hut, ride through town, and then head to the Joe Charles Fieldhouse roughly about noon. This is your chance to go on and congratulate the fellas. Great group of guys. They certainly have earned your praise, so head on out. Alumni, fans, friends, whatever. Should be a fun afternoon tomorrow at Canton to pay homage to a really, really good college basketball team. Meanwhile, on the basketball recruiting front tonight, we've got news. KHQA has learned that 6'2" Quincy High center Jordan Fletcher has given her verbal pledge to continue her career next season and for the next 4 or 5 years at UMSL. She is expected to sign her letter of intent in mid-April. Obviously, Fletcher has a prototype body frame, college frame, and great timing as a shot blocker. She's not the only Quincy High export going to sign. 2 of her Blue Devil teammates, Araya Dade and Hannah Reller, are headed to John Wood as well. Pretty good recruiting class coming out of the Blue Devils this season, so good for them, and congratulations to the girls. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the high school docket today. State championships contested over in Peoria at 3A. Morgan Park takes care of a very good Cahokia team, beating them soundly. 63-48 was your final on that one. The 4A game just recently completed. rack up another state championship. 4 in a row for Simeon as they beat Stevenson tonight, 58-40. Jabari Parker, the most talked about player in the state, Mr. Illinois shoo-in, had 20 points to lead his team to victory. One score you don't see there that I do want to pass along is in the 4A third place game tonight. Edwardsville ends up beating Proviso East 57-56. That is important if you are a Western Illinois fan because coveted recruit Garrett Covington ended up with 15 points in the night to lead his team to victory. The future of the Leathernecks looks to be bright indeed. We had all-star fun tonight in Pittsfield WBBA Classic. Steve Rylander, one of the class acts in all of tri-state coaching, who's been worth his weight in gold to the Soxies as his assistant, is retiring after this year. He got to head coach the South squad tonight. Class act there, class move here as well as on the North squad. Tim Woodward, he of the 2 ACL tears and surgeries, hadn't played at all this season, but he got a chance to come back and be a part of the team, at least as a spectator tonight. Classy move by WBBA. And his North squad was equal to the task right off the bat. Matthew Kennedy opens the scoring with a 3 from the outside. Then more to come in this one. Jake Foss doing likewise as well. The Payson star with a 3 to make it a 9-0 run right out of the gate. Camp Point Central in the house as well. Douglas Weiss, the up and under move. That's pretty, but he's not done. More Weiss, this time on the traditional three-point play. Weiss cutting into the lane, spinning off contact, gets that to fall. Boy, I tell you what, the bucket, the Band-Aid, and the three-point play. And then Dalton Speckert from Payson, one of the more unsung members of that great Payson-Seymour team, about to make his presence felt as well. Out ahead of the break, great pass from Weiss, great finish right there from Speckart. He's not done yet either. More from Dalton right here, dealing in this one, as it's a 22-9 run to open things up for Mr. Speckart and the North. The South squad took a little time to shake loose, but finally right here, it's Corey Barnett, the outstanding West Central product off the feed from Kennedy Cattleman. Alex Fitch, though, going to answer at the other end, and right back with it, your MVP for the North squad tonight. Great take from him. And then more from Matthew Kennedy out on the break ahead. Again, this early, 38-24, the North ahead. More right here from Mr. Fitch. Pull-up jumper as he hits that, gets it to go. South squad wakes up in the second quarter. Kennedy Cattleman comes to life. He'd be the MVP of the South squad, hitting jumper after jumper and even cutting into the lane with a pretty move right here. Drew some contact, didn't get the call, but still got that to go. At the other end, though, the North squad had built just too big a lead. Douglas Weiss again finishing proudly right here. Cattleman going to answer eventually, but right here, it's the big fella, Matthew McPherson out of Q&D with a jumper. The North squad wins going away tonight in a blowout, 129-87, in what turned out to be a really fun game. And again, a doff of the cap to our friends at WBBA. Class acts one and all. Certainly run a great program. It was fun to watch tonight, watching all those senior kids get one more moment in the spotlight. And speaking of the spotlight, some up-and-coming volleyball players from both Augusta and the Gem City are going to be in a big spotlight come Tuesday night. First of all, let's talk about Southeastern. The 8th graders, 2A today, take out traditional powerhouse Mount Pulaski. Wasn't easy, but in 3 games, Madison Fox and company get the win to move on to the state semifinals. And you know what they did in the state semifinals? They got it done there as well. Led by the serving of Maddie Holt, Southeastern beats Holy Trinity to advance to the state championship game. That will take place in Lewiston at 6:45 coming up on Tuesday night. Southeastern will face Gardner for a chance to win a state championship. It's a traditional throwback to the days of Michaela Frey and Marcy Dixon. So the best volleyball program that program's had in a long, long time. Southeastern's got a great future ahead. So too does Quincy High School, although you knew that. Quincy High School always good in volleyball. Today, Quincy Junior High School at the 8-4A level gets through the quarterfinals with no problem. Great serving day by Shay Mulheron. Hope we pronounced that right. She had 14 service points in the first game, and then she also had another 13 in the semifinals, which Quincy Junior High School also won in beating up on Mattoon. Also, Kelly Lambert making her presence felt in that one at the service line, as she ended up with 8 points as well. Quincy High School headed off to the state championship game as well on Tuesday. We wish both Southeastern and Quincy High School the very best of luck. Great stories brewing there. Gotta love it. The future is indeed very bright, and so too is the present of baseball. We will bring you highlights from both near and very, very far in the warmth of Myrtle Beach. Coming up next right here on Overtime.
You're watching KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications.
And welcome back to Overtime, everybody. The weather conditions weren't exactly idyllic, But this was, in fact, the first weekend of high school baseball in the tri-states, and an intrepid few managed to get their fields into playable conditions and brave the 40-degree temperatures, and their reward was the indescribable joy that is the hand sting you get when making bat contact with a baseball in an icebox. That's how it felt today. We take you to the Flower City. Palmyra, Macon going at it today. Good one in this one. The Tigers threatening top of the first. Landon Monroe, big swing, but look at the catch there by Holden Hudson out in center field for Palmyra. Wonderful snare to take away what could have been a run or maybe more at that point. Craig Smith, though, dealing for Macon in the early going. He would shut Palmyra's powerful offense down the first time through the lineup. Couple of scoreless innings, couple of hitless frames as well, as Mr. Smith was dealing a couple of strikeouts right there. Palmyra got good pitching as well early on from Will Funkenbush, and even better defense. Caleb Kaiser behind the plate, showing off the cannon shot right there to get the would-be base runner Tell Dye at that point. That's the leadoff runner and a fast kid. Third inning, though, here comes Palmyra. Holden Hudson breaks through with the first single of the game for his team. The Panthers would proceed to load the bases for Leighton Wilson. He's just going to put the ball in play. Unfortunately for Macon, they had no play at the plate. That scores a run on the fielder's choice, and that sets up this. Josh Holt's going to come up next. He's going to go oppo in this one, driving one hard into right field. 3 runs at that point. Actually, 2 runs are going to score. It's going to be a 3-run bulge at that point in favor of Palmyra as they'd lead 3-0. Holtz would come on. Macon would put a real scare into things, bringing up the go-ahead and game-winning runs in the top of the 7th, but Palmyra finds a way to get through the jam. Holden Hudson on in relief to get that done. Holtz pitched well in his stint as well as Palmyra opens the season with a quality win. 3-2 was your final there. Over in Illinois, Central and Western going at it. No more co-op for Central, so we're not calling them Central Southeastern anymore. Central also on a diamond for the first time this season. They haven't even had a chance to practice on one. Early on, Isaac Hively from Western taking advantage of that, throwing darts in this one, going strong from the hill. Western also had the game's first base runner, but Seth Leeser right here helped Central get out of a jam, pulling the 6-3 double play and snuffing out an early threat. Hively still going strong, though, as the starter for Western. He looked awfully good in the second inning right here. Another strikeout from him. The Panthers, though, would strike first in this ball game. In the third, Mike Johnson going to lace this hard double. It kind of curls right into the corner in right field, and that would set up Mr. DeRose, who's going to come up right here with a little RBI action. The younger Mr. DeRose is going to get that done for his team right there. Makes it a 1-0 lead in favor of Central in this ball game. Central pitching very well as well. Who's Johnny? Johnny pitching very well on the hill for his team, for the Central Panthers. Kind of dealing a little bit in this game. Mr. Aiden getting it done in this one. Great pitch right there for the strikeout as well. Down 1-0, though. Isaac Hively would not give up another run in the ball game in his stint on the hill. Still dealing right here, throwing good stuff right there. And then he got some run support. Jake Walsh, who swings a good bat, headed to Hannibal LaGrange, I believe, next year, gets things going with this single. Eventually, with 2 outs, Central would throw a ball away and allow a run to score on the ensuing inning, which actually ties this game up at 1 apiece. That, my friends, would be as interesting as it would get early. It would get more dramatic just a bit later in this one. How about this beautiful throw right here down to third by Mr. Foote that gets his team, Central's team, out of the damage right there. Top of the 7th, Central up 3-1 on a pair of bases-loaded walks. Then it's Taylor Hyman doing the deed right here, with some legitimate hitting highlights in this one and heroics, a bases-clearing double, and that was the difference in the ball game. A 6-1 lead that Central would never relinquish. They opened their season with a win to the Panthers. 6-1 was your final. Western, though, after 2 straight losses to open the season, both by 6-1 margins, bounces back and gets a win in the nightcap of the doubleheader. 8-4 was your final in that ball game. Jake Walsh, I mentioned him earlier, had a good hitting day in that second game. 2 for 3 at the plate, couple of RBIs to spur his team on to victory. Also today, we had soccer. That was the only other local high school event happening. Hannibal goes on the road to Marshall, puts up a 3-0 victory over the Lady Owls in that ball game. Paige Utterback with a goal and assist to help spur the deed. Also, Miss Sheffer with a goal as well. Teresa Sheffer with the goal right there. So good stuff as well for the Hannibal Lady Pirates. Let's take you to beautiful sunny Myrtle Beach. We drove all the way there. Now our good friend Joe Morano hooked us up today. Greg Wathen's team trying to end up the road trip at the Ripken Classic on a good one today. Early on, Ryan Fisher right here with the fielder's choice, which plates a run at that point, puts John Wood up 5-2 in the second. More from John Wood. John Lozano, who had a day today with another rip. This one to center, scores an RBI right there for him and gets his team even further ahead. And you know what? Mark Carpenter, the outstanding John Wood hitter, going to add to it as well. This isn't pretty, but this infield single that he legs out scores another run. More to come from Carpenter. He gets another run in the frame and actually extends John Wood out to an 8-2 margin. That was all Adair Adamus would need on the day. Pitching very strongly was the freshman, also showing off his athleticism with some great defense in this affair as he helps John Wood clean up the victory today. Final count in this one sees John Wood victorious and rolling past today by a big margin in this one. 11-5 was the Trailblazers' victory in this one. Other good news on the college docket today for the traveling Quincy University Hawks, who sweep a pair from nationally ranked Indianapolis 5-4 in the first game. Quincy Notre Dame product Tim Haley on in the extra frame to pitch and to get the save for his team. And then in the second game, Quincy University just takes care of business. Nice road sweep for Josh Raby and the crew. 8-2 was your final in that second ball game. Hannibal LaGrange taking on Lyon College today. That didn't go quite so well for the Trojans. They lose 9-1 in the first game and a heartbreaker 4-5 in the nightcap, despite more hitting heroics today from Andrew Pollard. In the Summit League, Western Illinois felled today by Missouri State. In the first game, 10-4. Zach Burling, the Carthage product, goes 3 for 4 on the day with an RBI. In the second game, much better news for the Leathernecks as they get the win there, 6-3. Tanner Glore with a couple of RBIs in the glorious victory for his ball club. Also, Culver Stockton today, great pitching effort from the Menden Unity alum, Craig Bostert, also a John Wood alum, as he pitches his team past Benedictine 6-1. Unfortunately for the Wildcats, they could manage no better than a split today as Benedictine wins that second game 6-3. Softball, rough weekend for Western Illinois. The Leathernecks lose another one to South Dakota. This one today, 6-2 was your final. Monica Rondon, about the one bright spot on the day. She had a couple of RBIs and a triple. Also, Culver Stockton today ends up falling to Greenville, I should say, at the Fillmore Memorial 4-3. In the second game, much better day. Culver Stockton ends their affair with a 10-2 win over Stevens College. Whitney Burke had a pretty good tournament and a pretty good day today. She ends up going 5 for 8 on the day, drove in a couple of runs, scored a couple of runs as well. Quincy University traveled to Springfield today to take on Lewis because of the weather conditions here. Quincy University ends up losing to Lewis 8-1 in the first game and 2-1 in the second. Illinois College today, much better showing today against Rose Holman. In the first game, Illinois College wins that one 5-2. Elise Speckhart, the Payson product, easy for me to say, ends up with the win on the hill and a couple of hits in that ball game. And then in the second game, Illinois College would win that as well, 5-0 over Rose Holman. Paige Meyer and Elise Speckhart, both with home runs in that second ball game. Also want to pass along some wrestling news at the NCWA National Championships today. Lindenwood's own and Hannibal product, Jacob Janes, ends up taking 5th place at 141 pounds. That is his second straight All-American nod. Jacob Janes, obviously a phenomenal pirate wrestler in his high school days. It continues at Lindenwood, and he is just a junior, so has one more year to build upon his outstanding efforts. And congratulations to Jacob Janes, doing America's hometown very proud indeed. Well, 'tis the time here on Overtime where we unveil our latest Con Communication Connection nominee for the month of March. The drill is this. Every month we give you a host of great sports connections to choose from, and at the end of the month, if you go to our website to vote for your favorite, you're eligible by your participation to win a great prize package from Con Communication. We go the college route this week because we didn't have a whole lot else, but this is as pretty as anything we've seen. Marshawn Norris to Austin Keaton from the outside for a 3 yesterday in the big win for Culver Stockton, as they would end up taking out the national defending champions. That would be Concordia of California. Tell you what, everybody I've talked to in the media this week, and it's just about anybody who's ever seen these two guys play, has been quick to express the fact that we're really going to miss watching this kind of action from Marshawn Norris and Austin Keaton next year. They've certainly set an indelible mark at Culver Stockton, and for that, they're to be very much applauded.